everybody. A lot of you know me as Ronnie Nash. Some of you know me as Coach Ron Nash. I've been playing guitar. Actually, I bought this guitar when I was 17 years old. It is a 1976, maybe I was 16. It's a 1976 Fender Stratocaster made in the USA. I've done a lot of work to it. It's gotten a lot of natural dings on its own. At one juncture, I was going to have it painted, and somebody was like, "Are you kidding? Are you out of your mind? Don't paint that guitar." It's got the story that goes along with it. So I decided to leave it as is, and it definitely has a bunch of things in the story. More importantly, it was the first instrument that I bought that's a professional instrument, and I held on to it my entire life, with the exception of, there was a moment when it was in the pawn shop, and my current wife bailed it out, and it would have certainly been one of those losses. Yes, I was a starving artist at one juncture. Certainly not proud of that, but I'm happy that we were able to get my guitar back and it never saw a pawn shop again. I wanted to just share a few ideas about myself in relationship to Jimi Hendrix, the gig we're doing, and just some thoughts in general for those of you who don't really know who I am. I was just doodling around with an idea. I've been inspired by a lot of different music. Fortunately, I had parents who wanted us to learn and be exposed to lots of things. I'm working on a record right now, have been for a while, and I have rock stuff on it, I have rap stuff on it, I got country stuff on it. I cover a lot of ground musically. What was inspiring to me about Jimi Hendrix, especially back when I was growing up, it was more about seeing an individual, an African American individual, who wasn't confined to R&B. Jimmy played with the Isley Brothers and a bunch of people. He did R&B, and he was a blues player, but he also crossed over, and I thought that was fascinating, especially growing up in San Francisco as I did. I did listen to R&B and jazz and all the stuff my parents listened to, and clearly what was marketed to my demographic. The Jackson 5 was, from day one to day final for Michael. Loved them with all my heart. But I also was exposed early on to pop music, which the Rolling Stones, and got a chance to see Elton John do Benny and the Jets, Ike and Tina Turner review at Candlestick Park, etc. And honestly, until I was going through recently, just down memory lane, I'd forgotten that I had seen Elton John back in the day. So I had to be 8 years old, and it was one of my cousin's favorite songs. So he was playing, we went to see the concert, and I was inspired by a lot of different things. And hence I started playing guitar around 10, 11. And I ended up buying my first guitar myself because my parents, they had been around long enough to know that, if a child asks for something, oftentimes they ask for it and they get it and they don't really use it. And so this was one of those things where the universe had a different plan for me. I asked for this guitar, and I knew I wanted to play because there was a woman in our neighborhood. She said, "Hey, Ron, let me see those long fingers of hers." And I was like, "Okay, Mrs. Britton." She says, "Do you play piano or guitar?" And I said, "No." She says, "You should." Now, I was 10, 11, 9, somewhere around there. And I took it to heart. I was like, okay. So I then started on a trek and figured out that it'd be easier to get a guitar than a piano. So I discovered a way to get a guitar, and it was through what was called blue chips trading stamps. We had green chip and blue chip stamps, where if you went to a gas station or a grocery store or anything at all, you got these stamps given to you. The amount you purchase, obviously you get a certain amount of stamps. And you can take those stamps and trade them in for actual merchandise, refrigerators, stoves, tools, guitars, anything. It was a very elaborate system that was erected, and you go to a local center to redeem your stamps. I found a guitar in the trading system, and I think it required 10,000 or more stamps. I don't recall, but I found a guitar and an amplifier. And let me tell you, as I review the tapes of my life, I realized that I am OCD and without a doubt ADHD. And it's okay because I learned how to use it, but I was obsessed on getting enough stamps to get this guitar. You couldn't buy stamps, but in the transactions, you would get stamps and redemption. So I do favors, anything I could. I'd ask everybody I could for those stamps. And I ended up with this big stack of books with all of the pages filled at the end of several months. And I proudly went down to the Redemption Center and got my first guitar and amplifier. And I think that that was a big deal for me because it showed commitment. It also showed that we can imagine anything and apply ourselves and achieve it. Early on, I started discovering that. And so first guitar, it was hard to play. It was hideous, but I was so happy with it. And I learned how to pluck around on that thing. And eventually I started making music, kind of, sort of. More importantly, guitar for me has been one of those things that has transitioned with me my entire life. And so oftentimes the things we have go away. The experiences obviously retain, but playing a musical instrument is another thing that I can take and interchange my entire life. And the fact that I've decided to hang on to that experience and still participate with it has offered me a lot of joy that I don't get elsewhere. And so hence, I still have this toy, and thank goodness my wife bailed it out. But more importantly, that I stay in touch with the expression of making music and the joy of sharing. My Hendrix story I will leave for another video, but it is a pleasure to be involved and be invited by Jeff and Bob to participate at the Belly Up. It's a venue that I've always wanted to play. Once again, it's another manifestation process. I am excited about it. And for the first time, I got to be completely honest with you. I've been doing a lot of things over the years, or a number of things. I've been more focused on being a business guy and raising my family. My children are now adults, and I can now start playing with me again. I haven't been in a rehearsed band in years. So I'm actually rehearsing for this event, which I'm super excited about. And I plan on having a lot of fun. Probably I'll most likely be in a form because of practice and rehearsing that many of you haven't experienced before, but I certainly look forward to seeing all of you out there and sharing some musicality, maybe have a drink with you guys, but more so, and more importantly, celebrate the spirit of the music that has influenced many of us. Jimi Hendrix and his birthday. He was born November 27th, 1942. We are celebrating the birthday of Jimi, and more importantly, the effect that he had on us and the world at large. A very major dent in the universe. And hopefully, other than playing some of the songs, the spirit that we bring is what this is all about. I look forward to seeing you and meeting some of you that I haven't seen before. And tell a friend. Looking forward.